The Green Bay Packers 2025 schedule officially just dropped. So I wanted to give my instant reaction to the Packers schedule, break down some important notes of the schedule, and then also give a record prediction for 2025. Guys, if you happen to be a new viewer and want to stay in the loop with everything Green Bay Packers this offseason, you'll find it all here on this channel. News, analysis, updates. You'll find it here on this channel with OTAs and, of course, then training camp right around the corner. If that does interest you, I'd highly suggest going down, clicking subscribe, and, of course, turning on post notifications as well. So throughout the day, we are getting a bunch of leaks of certain games that the Packers were going to play, and we're all sitting here kind of hoping, at least I was, that, hey, we'd finally have a home opener, a week one home opener. Matt LaFleur has never had one. We've started on the road week one every single year since 2019. The last home opener was 2018, where Aaron Rodgers injured his knee, came back out at halftime. We had that glorious comeback against the Bears, and it happened. It finally happened. We got our home opener, and what better than a divisional home opener against the reigning NFC North division champs, as much as I hate to say it, Detroit Lions. So bringing the schedule up on the screen, that's the first thing that stands out. Obviously, week one, home opener in Lambeau, 3:25 Central against the Detroit Lions. But not only week one, but week two is also a home game, and it's a Thursday night football game. So a very short turnaround after week one against a very good Detroit Lions football team, at least obviously staying in Green Bay, and then hosting the Washington Commanders, a team that beat the Lions in the playoffs the very next week. So the Packers are going to start this season with a hefty trial. Two opponents that went farther in the playoffs than the Green Bay Packers, the Detroit Lions and the Washington Commanders, which I like. I like playing tough opponents early, forging your team. I guess forged by fire would be the best way to put it. And it's really going to battle test the Packers early and really build this team for later in the year. So week one and week two, home in Lambeau, those games are going to be tough. Then we go to Cleveland in week three. So the Packers very well could start out 0-2, but luckily they do head to Cleveland here in week three. Who knows who's going to be their quarterback at that point? It's a Sunday game, a 12 o'clock Central against the Cleveland Browns. If the Packers do end up struggling, going 1-1, 0-2 in the first 2 weeks, which I suspect a 1-1 split likely, they could end up 2-0. We'll see how it starts, but week three is good to have with Cleveland heading to Cleveland week three. Week four, heading to Dallas. This is essentially a home game. The Packers have more playoff wins in AT&T Stadium than the home team Dallas Cowboys do, and this is a Sunday night game against the Dallas Cowboys. The Packers usually play very, very well in Dallas. 7:20 Central game, week four primetime. So in the first 4 weeks, that's 2 primetime games, one against the Commanders, then week four against Dallas, and then you get to the next thing. I mean, a week 5 bye is absolutely atrocious. I was hoping this wasn't the case. We heard a leak about this a couple hours ago. If you're looking over there on X, and I was really, really hoping it wasn't true. A week 5 bye is abysmal. It's atrocious. You typically want bye weeks around 8, 9, 10. That's kind of like the middle of the season where, you kind of need a bye. Like a bunch of guys are injured or hurt, and the bye really helps you to get some of those pieces back. It's for the second half of the season. And a week 5 bye, the earliest bye week you can have is, again, it's atrocious, but it is what it is. The Packers, 2 straight home games, 2 straight road games, then a bye to regroup after the first 4 weeks of the season. Let me know your thoughts of the week 5 bye. I doubt there'll be a single person in the comments saying, oh, I love a week 5 bye. I don't think there's a single person that actually does like that. But after the bye week, the Packers head back to Lambeau to take on the Cincinnati Bengals. Very, very excited about this game. I think that'll be a high-octane, shootout-style game. Bengals versus Packers, two great offenses. Joe Burrow hopefully playing and not injured at that point. Jordan Love, week 6 against the Bengals. Really excited for that game. Then we go on the road for 2 straight games. The Arizona Cardinals in week 7. That's also a 3:25 game. And then the week after that is a primetime game against the Pittsburgh Steelers in Pittsburgh. Maybe I'll make it out to this game, especially if Aaron Rodgers ends up signing with the Steelers. I'll make it a priority to get out to this game, and that's why it's primetime. If it was no chance at all that Aaron Rodgers would sign with the Steelers, then I doubt this would be primetime. The NFL knows what they're doing with this one. Week 8, Sunday Night Football. Aaron Rodgers against his former team. Obviously, that's yet to happen, and it could happen this year. This was the game that was first rumored to be in Ireland. Of course, now it's not. The Vikings are playing there. So this one will be in Pittsburgh here, and that could be a very, very exhilarating game, of course. Like, if it's Aaron Rodgers, if it's not, could be a pretty boring game with whoever's at quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers by week 8. Could be a very, very boring game. And if that's the case, the Packers, kind of a tune-up game at that in week 8. Then back home for the Carolina Panthers, who I think will surprise a lot of people this year. I really liked what I saw from Bryce Young later last season. We're home against them. I feel like we always struggle against the Panthers randomly when we shouldn't. And then we have the Philadelphia Eagles. That's a Monday night football game. This one's in Lambeau. Rematch from the playoffs from week 1. Obviously, both of those games not in Lambeau. This one will be, so the Packers will have at least the home field advantage there. That'll be a very tough matchup. Week 11, head over to MetLife. I feel like I've been there 3-4 times now. Maybe I'll go again. It's just close to me. It's a 1 o'clock game, November 16th. Might be kind of a vibe to head out to MetLife to see whoever's at quarterback. Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, Jackson Dart. Kind of hope it's Winston. He just always puts on a good show, and it could be a fun game to watch. Week 12, back to Green Bay, a 12 o'clock game against our division rival, Minnesota Vikings. And this is crazy. Yet again, there's only one divisional game in the first 10 weeks. I believe that was the case last year, or at least the Bears. We didn't play them at all until later in the season, and they did it yet again. Not to jump forward too much, but the Bears, week 14 and week 16. Like, why? Like, there should be a Bears game within the first 10 weeks, no matter what, for the Green Bay Packers. Maybe in the first 6 weeks. The fact that we only have one divisional game, and this is like the toughest division in the NFL, is going to make it a very tough stretch down the line. With our second divisional game happening week 12 against the Vikings. Luckily, the first 2 divisional games are at home, but that also makes the rest of the season have so many road divisional games, which are, of course, going to be tougher. And that, of course, starts week 13, a Thanksgiving game against the Detroit Lions, this time in the 12 o'clock slate. I believe they've only played in the 3 o'clock and then also the 7. I don't believe the Lions Packers in the recent years have played at that 12 o'clock slot. So that'll be the first game on Thanksgiving for the Packers versus Lions. Then we head back to Green Bay to take on the Bears for the first time in the season. 12 o'clock game, Sunday, December 7th. That prototypical Bears game in Lambeau, the 12 o'clock game. Excited for that one. Then we go on the road for 2 straight weeks. Denver, that's going to be an awesome one. I mean, the Denver Broncos, I'm very excited for this year in the AFC. I think they could be a real contender. Obviously, depending how Bo Nix does here in year 2, but year 1 is very promising. That'll be a really tough game. And this back end of the season, man, if the Bears do well this year, which they could, I'm not going to bet on it, but look at week 13 to 18. We have a lot of, if the Bears are good, playoff contending teams. The Lions, Bears, Broncos, Ravens, and Vikings. That is a very tough stretch. Week 15 Broncos, week 16 on the road. It's a Saturday game. I just realized that as I'm reading this. A Saturday game in December, 3 o'clock or 7 o'clock. So that's interesting. A Saturday game's kind of cool. And then week 17 is also a flex game. It's at Green Bay versus the Baltimore Ravens. It could be Saturday. It could be Sunday, December 27th or December 28th. Time to be determined. I'm just glad the Packers don't play on Christmas, if I'm being honest. So back to Lambeau to take on the Ravens, who will probably, who knows at this rate? Maybe they lock up their division. We'll see how that goes. That's far away. Then the final week, week 18, we end on the road in Minnesota. Saturday or Sunday, yet again, another flex there, January 3rd or January 4th, time to be determined. Of course, this could come down to one of these teams getting into the playoffs, and then that would be flexed to another primetime game. But off the rip here, the Packers have 6 primetime games if you include Thanksgiving at 12 o'clock Central. Some other big important notes here, obviously the week 5 bye, starting on a home opener for the first time since 2018. And the Steelers Sunday night game, week 8, if Aaron Rodgers is there, that's going to be electric. So quickly, let's run down win or loss on each of these games. Week 1, I have a win home opener versus the Lions. Week 2, I have the Packers dropping this game. Short week after a tough divisional game after week 1. A lot of players are going to be banged up, in my opinion, and I think the Commanders might get the edge here. So I have a loss there. Week 3 and 4, I have a win for both of these. Cleveland should be an easy game. We always play well in Dallas. So we head into the bye 3-1. I'd be very happy with that. Week 6, I have a win versus Cincinnati. I could see like an overtime game-winning Brandon McManus field goal there in week 6. I have a win in week 7, a win in week 8, which it just depends. Week 8 against the Steelers, if it's Aaron Rodgers, the guy could go nuclear against the Packers if he is there and healthy and whatnot. But I'm still going to bet on the Packers winning that game at home. So I have week 8 a win. I have week 9 a win, but it's going to be a nail biter against the Panthers. It's going to be one of those games where you're like, oh man, you're getting out of there. You're like, a win's a win. That's what I feel like week 9. I have a loss against the Eagles. I still think they're a very good football team. Obviously, I mean, look what they did to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, and they still have an edge over the Packers right now. Week 11, win against the Giants. I have a loss week 12 against the Vikings. We always split them, and we tend to get our loss at home and our win on the road, which could mean more if we win on the road in week 18. Week 13 against the Lions, Thanksgiving, I have a loss, although the last time we played the Lions on Thanksgiving, we did very well, but I think we could win the home opener and lose this one in week 13 and split the Lions. Week 14, win against the Bears. Week 15, I have a loss on the road in Denver, even though McManus will be used to the high altitude and kicking there, which will be a nice plus to have. Week 16, I have a win against the Bears. We sweep the Bears. Week 17, I have a loss against the Ravens. I think that's going to be a tough one. Ravens may be fighting for their division win. And then week 18, I have a win against the Vikings, maybe to secure a certain seed in the playoffs or the division. So that puts us at 11-5. My first initial prediction for the Green Bay Packers in 2025. Let me know your prediction down in the comments below. Just give me the overall prediction or list all the games and which ones you think the Packers will win and which ones they will lose. Really appreciate you guys coming by to the video. If you could leave a like down below, it supports the channel a ton. I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching, and as always, go Pack Go.